What's up, everybody? This is Robbie Yeager, and I'm back with a MCSC special report here. So we got a little bit of breaking news. It depends on how you want to interpret it. It definitely matters to me, and I think it should matter to you. And it definitely relates to something that's been going on in the news lately. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys remember that a couple of weeks ago, a few senators got into some hot water with some of the stock market moves it looked like they were trying to make before the coronavirus crashed the stock market. These senators were Richard Burr from North Carolina, Dianne Feinstein from California, and Kelly Loeffler as well. And, that's kind of going to tie into what we got going on now. So over the last couple of weeks, I have been researching other representatives and looking through their financials. And lo and behold, Ro Khanna, who is the subject of today's video, has some kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say weird, but definitely unsettling transactions that have been made from Ro Khanna's financial portfolios, and we're definitely going to get into that. So basically, the crux of it is Ro Khanna, through his multiple trust funds and portfolios that he has, around the end of February, around February 23rd, 24th, started buying massive amounts of pharmaceutical stocks in Pfizer, started buying a whole lot of DuPont, who makes protective gear and hazmat suits and whatnot, and of course started selling off all of his hotel stocks, mainly Caesars Entertainment and casinos. Obviously the casino market has been hit, the hotel market has been crushed, and he seems to be ahead of the curve, especially on that one where he got out just in the nick of time. So that being said, a lot of people have been asking me since I released this information exactly what I think about it and what am I trying to say exactly. A lot of people are trying to insinuate that I'm insinuating something like insider trading, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But as it turns out, a lot of people were asking me where I got my information from. So as I'm going through the information that I got, I figured it would also be a good idea to show you how to get this information yourself. So let's start with the numbers. I'm going to use the front page of my Twitter thread that I made whenever I first broke this news yesterday, kind of get us through the math here. So if you don't mind, give me one quick second. All right. So this is what I put out yesterday. This was the break. According to financial disclosures, Representative Ro Khanna's many portfolios reflect numerous purchases of Pfizer pharmaceuticals that range anywhere between $87,000 and $430,000. DuPont, those purchases ranged anywhere between $23,000 and $170,000. And he started selling off, like I mentioned, Caesars Entertainment, and those sales were worth anywhere between $15,000 and $235,000. And we will get into why those ranges are so wide. And very simply put, it has everything to do with how they put down the information in the financial disclosures. Now, these financial disclosures, I bet you're wondering, how do you get them? Well, it's very simple. You go to clerk.house.gov and you will hit public disclosure right here and hit financial disclosure reports right there. And whenever you click that, it will come to this screen where you will be able to search anybody in Congress, right? Anybody in the House of Representatives, you search by their last name. In this case, it's Ro Khanna. Now I've already got his search pulled up here. Whenever you search, you will see a number of different types of filings. One of them will be annuals. The other one will be PTR. This means periodic transaction report. Basically, anytime a member of Congress makes a stock transaction or a trade or of any sort, they have a certain amount of time, a certain period of time to report that to the clerk of the House. So that is what that means. So you start seeing these, that means that your representative has been making moves in the market, and Ro Khanna most certainly has. So without further ado, I'm going to hop in to the financial disclosure in question and show you guys exactly what I found. So here we go. Ro Khanna. This is his right here, Ro Khanna. Now, this should go without saying that Ro Khanna and his wife are very wealthy. His wife is the heiress of a fortune. She's a multimillionaire, and by extension, so is he. It's also worth noting that he comes from Silicon Valley, where the big businesses love to line his pockets. There's lots of people in high places that donate to Ro Khanna as well. So what you're going to see as you scroll through these is you're going to see these number ranges over here, which is the amount of the transaction, which is why the totals in my initial report are so spread out. See 87 to 430, 23 to 170, right? The reason why that is because of the ranges that they have to mark down. Any of these transactions could be anywhere between 1,000 and 15,000 right here. So you're going to see numerous different portfolios and investment accounts that Ro Khanna is attributed to, but this is the big one. All right. I'm not sure. It's not very, it's kind of blurry when you look at it, because it seems to me they print these sheets out and then they scan them and fax them over or whatever they do, and it just comes out looking terrible. And I'm probably sure that's probably for a good reason, so people like me can't read them. But be that as it may, you can see right here: purchase, Pfizer, 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 DuPont, 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 Pfizer, 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 and it just goes on and on. You see the cells down here under sale, got all this Caesars, 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 right? And this goes on and on. I'm not going to go into it too meticulously, because obviously you see what I'm saying: Pfizer, 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 Pfizer again, DuPont again, DuPont again, and we'll just keep going through DuPont, DuPont, Pfizer again, and these are all buys, right? So as you can see, as we're looking through these purchases, a lot of these are basically saying, hey, I'm trying to get ahead of the curve here. There was definitely, some of these purchases of DuPont, 227. So literally the market was crashing right before this happened, right before he went on these sprees, these buying sprees, or right after he went on these buying sprees. So what does this say, right? Well, first of all, there's really no way to say that he was inside trading, right? Now, this is going to bring up a whole new discussion of whether or not you believe that elected officials should be able to hold stock. I, for one, do not. I think that there is a really big area of reform that we can have here. And most definitely, it involves the financial stakes that our politicians have. And it just, even if you're not being improper with your investments, you can avoid all of this scrutiny, right? If you just didn't have to worry about it. You wouldn't have to worry about us wondering if you're on the take from, Wells, from, Amazon.com or Ford Motor Company. We don't have to worry if you're on the take from them, because you're not invested in their business like Ro Khanna. And really quickly, before we really get off the subject, Ro Khanna has built himself as a progressive and, this and that. But guys, I know that a lot of these are in a blind trust or whatever. But he can look at this stuff just like we can. So to think that he doesn't have any kind of knowledge as to what his portfolios or what his wife's portfolios contain is a little bit, it's trying to make you believe something that's just not, it just doesn't make any sense. Of course he knows what's in his portfolios. All he has to do is look at the same information we are. And for somebody that claims to be a progressive, it's kind of disheartening to look in these portfolios and see companies like Marathon Petroleum, Exxon Mobil. You're seeing defense contractors like Honeywell. There's the Exxon right here. You're seeing lots of, there's all them Caesar sales, Caesar Entertainment, boom, 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 boom. Let's look through here. What else we got here? There's more DuPont. Of course, he's selling off Carnival there too. Carnival Cruises. What else we got here? He's got all sorts of good stuff in here. A lot of stuff that you really, really, really wouldn't want one of somebody that you would think is progressive, right here. Okay, just so we can say he's buying Phillips 66, TC Energy, TC Pipelines. These two are, these are pipeline owners, oil and gas pipeline owners. Enbridge, they own pipelines. Again, Boeing, Wells Fargo. So, I mean, he is in Duke Energy. He's into oil. He's into weapon stocks, defense contractors. And if he's not personally, then his spouse is. So it's kind of hard to take him seriously when he's talking about, reforming on climate change, and when he's talking about not, he's being anti-war. I mean, you're directly profiting. You're off of these companies' sales. Like, you are directly building your wealth off of the stock prices of companies like Exxon and General Dynamics and Enbridge and Boeing and Phillips. Phillips 66, not Phillips the electronics company, Phillips 66, the oil company. They have a stake in Dakota Access Pipeline. Like, I'm pretty sure Ro Khanna owns stock in every company that has a stake in the Dakota Access Pipeline, right? But I'm kind of getting off subject. The subject of this was the fact that Ro Khanna is trying to, whether or not he was inside trading or not, that's irrelevant. The point of this all is the fact that Ro Khanna is trying to make a play on the stock market, and he's going to use the pandemic to do that. He's just like any other cutthroat businessman. And if he's not, then the people that, are running his finances are. And regardless, to me, that deserves scrutiny. I mean, look, you can't come out and slam Kelly Loeffler for buying all this DuPont stock, right? Just like Market Watch is doing right here. New scrutiny of stock deals by Georgia Senator Kelly Loeffler and her husband ahead of outbreak. Senator's husband bought up to $415,000 in stock of DuPont, which makes protective equipment. Okay, fair enough. That looks sketchy. But if we're going to go at Loeffler and her husband, then we have to be able to look at Ro Khanna and say, you know what? All of this DuPont stock you're buying, why doesn't that deserve the same amount of scrutiny? Now, why would you buy DuPont? Well, for the same reason that Ms. Loeffler did, presumably, that they're making protective gear that's in super high demand right now. Have their numbers suffered? Of course they have. And we'll go over the numbers in just a minute, actually. Now, Pfizer, on the other hand, why would you want to buy Pfizer? Well, that's a no-brainer, right? They're going to be working on a cure, on a vaccine, on a treatment. They're a pharmaceutical company. They're one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies. But here's the thing. Looking through the past couple of years of Ro Khanna's financial disclosures, you're not going to see a whole lot of interest in Pfizer, like almost at all, until this most recent report that came out in March. So that tells me that what he's trying to do is use the pandemic to make some money in the stock market. Now, a lot of people might say, well, Robbie, that's a trade that anybody could make. Possibly. But the fact of the matter is that he shouldn't be able to make it. And the fact that we've got a so-called progressive basically trying to use the pandemic to make money in the market, that's extremely disheartening. It's extremely disheartening. And as a matter of fact, why would you buy Pfizer? Because they just clinched a massive coronavirus vaccine deal, and they see potential in antiviral treatment. It also finalized a plan to develop a coronavirus vaccine in partnership with German drug maker BioNTech, and said the companies will hope to produce millions of vaccines by the end of 2020. If you think that Pfizer isn't about to make billions of dollars off of this vaccine, you're out of your mind. Now, let's take a quick look. He bought a lot of these stocks on February 24th. February 24th, according to this chart, it was worth $34.67. Now, obviously, the market tanked right after. But guess what? Good news for Ro Khanna. It's back up to $35.39, which is more than what he bought it for just a month and a half ago. And this is going to continue to go up. Now, why are they rebounding so quick? Obviously, because the services they provide are relevant to the pandemic that we're going through, just like DuPont. Now, let's look at the DuPont. So DuPont hasn't recovered as well. Oh, they want to mess with my chart here. Needless to say, DuPont has not recovered as well as Pfizer, but they're going to be on the same trajectory. Why? Because they perform services that are relevant to the current climate that we're in right now. DuPont on the 24th, $50.45. So it's dropped and it hasn't quite recovered as well. But then again, him making these moves isn't a guarantee that he's going to make money. What it is a guarantee of is that he's attempting to make money. This makes him just like every other neoliberal out there. And I'm sorry, guys, like I can't back somebody who is literally the exact same thing that he's claiming to not, the same thing that he's claiming to fight against. He's profiting off of big oil. He's profiting off of defense contractors. He's attempting to profit off of the coronavirus pandemic and the crash in the market. He sold off a whole lot of Caesars Entertainment stock. That's valued at $7.93 right now. When he got out of it, When he got out of it, it was $14.02, $14.02 a share. It dropped to $3.52 less than a month later. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what the math is. That's a 75% drop. That saved him anywhere between like $11,000 and $130,000 by selling it exactly when he did. I want you to understand that Ro Khanna is also on the Economic Committee in Congress. He's on several committees. One of them is the economics. That means that he is very much in tune with the business side of this country and what the corporations are talking about. They all of this, almost all of this policy goes through him, or at least the committee that he's on. So he knows what the market is doing at all times. Don't let him tell you that he doesn't. So so what do we do, right? What does this all mean? Quite honestly, it just means that we need serious reform. The fact of the matter is this: Ro Khanna tried to use the stock market and the coronavirus in tandem with one another to try to make money, or try to save money in the event of him selling off his casino and hotel stocks. Now, why did I report this? Am I accusing Ro Khanna of insider trading? No, that's not what this is about. It's a simple fact of we have serious issues with our politicians and their financial stakes. And one of them is the fact that these guys just know more than you do. They're in rooms with people that you'll never have access to. They have information that we'll never have access to. And the fact of the matter is that it might not technically be insider trading, but they've definitely got a leg up on the rest of us. And people always wonder how these representatives and these senators make so much money while they're in office. I'm pretty sure we just kind of found out the answer here. And that's because these people are in the room with people that just know more than we do. And they're using that knowledge to play the stock market. Now, what's my personal opinion on this? I think that, again, congressmen, senators, any elected officials shouldn't be allowed to sell stock. They shouldn't be allowed to own stock. Whenever you decide you want to be a public servant, then that means you need to either trade, sell, or transfer all of the stock that you currently have and get rid of it. If you have investments in any company, any kind of silent partnership, you need to get out of them. No corporate stakes at all. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just the only way that we're going to get these kind of corruptions and stuff out is by, reforming the system. And there can be a no tolerance policy when it comes to using inside information, especially as a congressman, to try to turn a buck on the stock market. Because make no mistake, when I look at those financial reports, the only thing I see Ro Khanna doing is trying to use the coronavirus pandemic to make a profit. And if we're going to criticize the Republicans for doing so, then it's only fair that we look at our side as well. Like again, Senator Loeffler is being, crucified for buying the DuPont stock, and she didn't even buy it. Her husband bought it. Well, Ro Khanna didn't buy it. His wife bought it. But the fact of the matter is that we still have to examine it the same way. Otherwise, we're not helping anything except fueling partisan tensions. And if it looks like we're being partisan at all, then the other side is not going to take what we're saying seriously. They're going to continue to whataboutism every single time we bring up something like this. And for you guys that are coming at me, I've been accused of falsifying documents. That's why I had to make this video so I can show you. I may not have done the best job explaining it, but I'm going to break it down to you real quick and simple. Ro Khanna bought a whole bunch of Pfizer because they're going to start making vaccines for it, and their stock's going to rebound quicker than others. They bought a whole bunch of money, and they bought a whole bunch of stock in DuPont because they make protective gear. And he was hoping, I'm assuming, that it was going to bounce back faster. It hasn't. It's a gamble you take with the stock market. His financial advisors sold off a whole bunch of hotel and casino stocks, just dumped it. That saved him. That could have saved him almost over $100 and some $1,000. I don't have the number in front of me because I haven't actually kind of a glitch right now. But regardless, I mean, he's just like any other politician. Like the Joe Manchins out there. I mean, you want to look at his policy and say, "Oh, well, he supported Bernie for president. He's not that bad." I'm sorry. As long as he hasn't divested from big oil and military industrial companies, then he's never going to have my trust. But whenever I'm looking through his stuff and I see crap like this, and I see a so-called progressive trying to make a profit off of something that's killing hundreds of thousands of people or tens of thousands of people, like, come on, man. That's just not something that I can abide by. And I feel like it's something that deserves scrutiny and deserves attention. So that's why I brought it up. Again, I'm sorry if I feel like I'm all over the place right now. It has been a long day, so I'm sorry if the video wasn't as smooth as I hoped it would be. I tried to get you guys to see what I see or kind of look through some of the information so I could present my argument, or at least present my findings in a way that seemed fair, balanced, and explain myself. Because a lot of people think that I'm accusing Ro Khanna of doing something illegal, and that is definitely not what I'm doing. I'm not accusing him of doing anything illegal at all. I am accusing him or his spouse or his spouse's financial advisors of having extremely poor judgment, bad taste, and bad optics. And I am accusing him of, using the coronavirus pandemic to try to make a profit. I mean, how does that make you any better than, the people across the aisle from you that you so disdain so often? So then again, this is something that we're going to have to look at with all of our representatives, and there's 535 of them, including the House and the Senate, and it's going to take a while. So I hope you guys found that informative. I'm sorry if the video wasn't quite what I was expecting it to be. It's kind of a mess, but like I said, I tried to do my best here. Anyways, I'm gonna let you guys go with that. I hope you guys having a good quarantine. If you guys have any comments, concerns, likes, dislikes, questions, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up in the comments section, and subscribe, the drill, all that good stuff. But until the next time I see you, you keep doing what you do, and I'll keep doing what I do. Peace.